Okay, so my name is Jonas Stockfleth. I'm a filmmaker, and when I was going to do the talk here and decide on it, I kind of were in the midst of reading up all the bad things, Facebook advertising, and the bad lights come on, and I always believe that you can use things for good if you want to. It's always the person using it. If you want to use something for something bad, then you can. If you want to use it for something good, there's definitely possibilities for that. So I decided to do my talk about Facebook advertising, and it will be more how to use it. There's some ideas in there that hasn't been implemented, so it's very much an idea talk. It's a cut down from a talk I did on Thursday for marketing and advertising professionals. So that's a little bit where it goes from and come from. So let's see if it'd be interesting if any of you have any ideas and want to chat afterwards about anything that we show here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about audience, so that when you create targeted messages on Facebook and all the advertising platforms, that you know who you talk to. Then it's understanding Facebook, why it has been used for bad and why it can be used for good, what they did. And what's the power behind Facebook. And then we're going to talk about how to build audiences and how detailed it can be done, so that you also understand how you can be using it, for example, in combating diseases, preventing outbreaks, especially because the last ISNTD talk I was at was the WASH one, where the ideas started coming up, where very much is behavioral change-based intervention with NTDs. Then I'm going to go you through how to use the geo-targeting systems, which is part of the idea. And then also my ideas for what kind of videos we would make to make this whole system work. And a quick little talk, I'm going to show you some things we did for the Gates Foundation, which was an immersive video and a 360 video that also, in a way, had an impact through being shown to the right audience. So when you determine an audience, before you start making anything, you need to know who you're talking to and what will engage them. So if, for example, if you're going to Malawi or Uganda and you want to reduce outbreaks of diarrhea and cholera and stuff, you most likely want to talk to the women who are responsible for the household, who's responsible for cleaning, make sure for the responsible for the kids. If you need to speak to the men, you might want to have them, encourage them to speak to their women, because you know how the system works and how the society is set up. So the main thing you should look at is age, demographic, likes, dislikes, pains, and desires. And you have to think a little bit like a marketing person. And I think changing people's behavior is very much what they do in marketing. And again, it can be used for good if you want to. So understanding Facebook, you really have to understand how people use it and how many people actually in also developing countries now do have smartphones and how many of them are. There's over 2 billion users on Facebook now, and they are all over the world. Now, the reason people use it is to check on with friends and family. 95% is used on smartphone, and over 80% is used without sound. And this, I think, is one of the benefits of my idea, is that people don't really need to watch video with sound anymore. They're very happy just reading subtitles. And that means you can make one video that will work as well in Uganda, as Malawi, as in India, as long as you change the subtitles. So if you don't make your video specific to a country or a region, you can then get much wider use out of it, and then I'm going to come back to how I think it can be used in preventing outbreaks. It's quick entertainment. They want fun and entertainment, so you have to think about that when you're making any videos, that it shouldn't be too science-based. It shouldn't be difficult for the viewer to watch. It should be easy to watch, and it needs to be also shareable and something he wants to show his friends or her friends and also take on. And I think it's important, again, when you talk about behavioral change, is that it doesn't reach only the person who watched the video, because it might be out of a little courtyard of a 5-6 hut, there might be one person with a smartphone, but if that video engages to that person, it will take it around to the other people in that small community. Now, Instagram is also being seen to be a large use in starting coming across India, China, and Africa, and it also is possible to use the algorithm because it's owned by Facebook. You can use the same kind of targeting systems. I'll talk about that now. So when you make the videos, you also need to think that you can't just anymore make standard format 16:9, which is the bottom right here. You have to think that since they're watching it on a smartphone, and they're most likely not going to open it on desktop, that you have to adapt the video to the viewer again and what platform it's going to watch on. So if you're using subtitles, you have to think that it's going to be on the small screen, so subtitles need to be bigger than it normally is. And this goes throughout the platforms. There's different sizes, there's different aspect ratios, there's the length limitations, and I think it's very useful to know the different things so that you can kind of target, again, your audience to engage with your material and what you're trying to show them, and then maybe take it on to other platforms and again spreading it. If it is the wrong aspect ratios, there's the wrong lengths and so on, they won't engage with it, and your advertising or your intervention is useless. People don't use sound anymore, so they just use subtitles. This is a standard slide I talk about a lot here. People just don't watch with sound anymore. I know we all like using sound, but it's becoming almost a waste. It's nice to have, but it's not necessarily, and it comes in again, so I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So when you use Facebook, you can build campaign very cheaply and very fast. And this is one of my ideas, is to, when you have beginning of outbreaks, you can then geo-target these areas with information films that you have pre-made. So I'm talking about making pre-made content that gives information about certain things, if it's wash, if it's vector-borne diseases, how to protect your children against mosquitoes, and things like that. So it's also very good because you can actually split test, so you can constantly live test your outputs. So you can set out several videos with different kind of thumbnails, with different kind of subtitling, and you can constantly see the outcome. Within 12 hours, Facebook will already have found out which of your videos has a greater impact, which gets shared more, gets watched longer, and actually is delivering what you wanted to happen. Then also you will get a very detailed audience data. Who watches it, how long they watch it, how old they are, where they're from, and what they have done with the video afterwards. So if they watched it again, if they've shared it, if they have showed it to other people, if they saved the video, and if they watch it to the end and they watch it again. Now when we build an audience, as I mentioned before, I think it's, we can imagine now that there's, I used a place in Malawi that we made our last film, in Chikwawa. It's near Blantyre in the south, and it's a very deprived area. But still, in Blantyre itself, we saw very, very many young men and women with smartphones. And this started me to think how you could intervene with them when they then had outbreaks of diseases, and how you could inform these people with targeted messages, instead of just educating them through the normal means of health centers, where you have to send people on foot out. You can now target these areas. And very central, we can target down to half a mile with Facebook advertising now. And that means even certain villages around Lake Malawi where you have certain diseases spreading faster than others. You can use it, for example, to only target young men, to get out messages that condoms are cool, is worth using. Multiple sexual partners are not cool. This is behavioral change that we're definitely trying to get across in many regions of Africa, India, and other places. And I think with the right kind of message, and these young men, they really, they consume data, they consume videos, and they are very interested in being influencers themselves. It's becoming a very big thing to become an influencer, if it's on social media or in your local community. And having the knowledge and the information is a big part of that. So if you can give them knowledge and information, they can become the positive influencer in their community. Then you have proxy audiences. So when you have done a campaign in one area and you found out that something works really well, you can just take the same kind of data from them and use it to the next area. So when we talk about advertising for behavioral change, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's a video but it doesn't work, so I made it on Apple. But there was a video, there was some commercial banners on the bus stops around London. And the first one was an anti-obesity campaign trying to make people eat healthier to avoid getting cancer. And the next roll-up banner was actually an advertising for a 99p burger. And again, it's two advertisers, two marketing people using the same platform, just like you can use Facebook for good and bad. One was advertising you to eat lots of burger for under a pound, and the other one trying to stop you to eat any burgers so that you wouldn't get cancer and live healthier, basically. That should have been the video, but unfortunately, it's not going to play. Yeah, that's what I want to know as well. I think this one got more attention after all. I think, well, they both got shared quite a lot on social media, so there must have been a success both ways. Maybe they even combined their campaign. Oh, who knows? Yeah. So what I want to talk about now is just showing you how you can use the Facebook geo-targeting. And this will be if you go very down to a level where we're going to go through the screenshots very quickly. So this is an idea for me to inform this population where you have a certain kind of a disease outbreak and you want to inform the population of either seeking health, go to the local health center, use prevention, wash more, or stop swimming in certain rivers, or because there's been an outbreak. So first we need to make a video before you do this. So you need to then make a video that informs the audience, and the video should be made in a form that it can be translated and used in any of the languages you target. I think we're a bit behind here. So first, you go in here. This is a screenshot from the Facebook advertising screen. You go in and you can choose what kind of goals you have. Here we would go in for engagement, and we go into the next screen. I selected first Malawi, and you can see on the left for you, that is the quite broad audience. At the moment, if I target Malawi, I can target 430,000 Facebook users. So that already I have the data on how many people are in the area. Now, as I said to you guys, I wanted to target the local village of Chihuahua. I also thought that for what I wanted to intervene with in this instance was about wash and children's hygiene. So as you can see further down, I chose the age range from 14 to 30, and I also only wanted to target women. Actually, a few days ago we would have still got an accurate audience number, but Facebook yesterday clamped down to anything below 100,000, I think. You're not allowed to get the exact number anymore. But we did the test a little bit before, and I think we got into 4,300 people around there. So it can be very targeted and very precise advertising or intervention. How you can make videos work is to make them as I mentioned, non-localized, so they don't need to be shouldn't be live people. It should be very easy to identify with. This is the video that won an award here last year from the Natural History Museum about schistosomiasis. Very nice little animation, but an animation that could be used across the African continent without problem, without people not being able to relate to it, as long as you have the subtitles in the local language. And as we know, English is often only spoken by the higher educated and the richer people in the society, so using the local language and local subtitles is very important for anything like this to work. Quick one, what we did in Malawi last year, we created a 9x1 video, an immersive video for the Gates Foundation's special event during the ISNTD summit in Geneva last year in April. And it was used to raise awareness how MDA programs can work when you use local distributor and again local influencers in a way. We have at the bottom screen, you can see a 360 shot of Godfrey going to the local village and talking to the people, talking about WASH, and general healthcare, and also handing out the medicine, or reenacting handing out the medicine for lymphatic filariasis, which has been eliminated in Malawi. And I think also recently I heard it's also been eliminated in Egypt. And it's all down to mass drug administration programs that are led by the local health authorities. Okay, I have a stand out at the back if you want to know anything more. You can go to Facebook and use that if you want. Send me a message to the FilmYard and say awesome talk, and I'll get all your data so I can target you for advertising in the future. And thank you very much for listening. I hope that was quite different. So.